Howdy y'all, my name is Annie Mae and welcome to Trinity's Crossroads, the intersection between chance, fate, and the road you take in life. Recently, I was thinking about fan-made super forms for Sonic characters. I can't really remember why, but my mind just kind of drifted in that direction. And as I was thinking about all the different super forms that have been made up by the fans over the years, you know, Super Amy, Super Tails, Super Knuckles, all which have actually been teased in the games some way or another, but never been canonized, I thought about the fact that a lot of the fans tend to make super forms for characters that don't actually make sense to receive super forms. Be they the Chaotix, who are just kind of backstage secondary characters who don't really make sense for it, or Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, who could get super forms because they're just popular enough for it, but in the universe make no sense for it to actually happen. Or perhaps you come up with Super Sally or Super Manic and Sonia, characters who are completely non-canon to the official Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Whatever the case may be, I've seen tons of fan-made super forms that just make no sense for existing. So I thought, you know, I would really love to see a character who would actually receive a super form in official canon get an actual super form, even if it's not canon. And that led me to the idea of trying to create my own super form for one of these characters who I think could actually receive one. And I thought it would be really, really neat to just try my hand at something I hadn't really done before. I don't really draw a lot of Sonic characters, and I definitely don't draw super forms. So I thought it would be really fun to try to come up with an idea that would make a lot of sense in the official canon and actually could be relatively plausible. So without further ado, let's get into that. So I guess I should begin by talking about which character I actually chose to give a super form to. There were a few different candidates who I could have gone with. I thought maybe Gemerald would work, as we see Emerald in his game collect the different emeralds, the Chaos Emeralds, and then power up with them, but never does Emerald go super. And while I don't know as much about Gemerald as I do Emerald, I know Gemerald was the same robot, basically. So if Emerald doesn't go super, I don't expect Gemerald will go super either. The other option I had was Sage. Yeah, it does feel a little weird to make a Super Sage, but I've seen Super Sage before. People have made it, and it's not entirely out of the question. In terms of official canon, we've seen plenty of Eggman's robots do something equivalent to going super. I think Heavy Egg, the Heavy Egg leader, I forget what his name is, he goes something close to super. Metal Sonic in the Mania animated shorts does something akin to going super. He powers up with the Chaos Emeralds, just doesn't go gold. Mecha Sonic Mark III, though, he goes super. And Neo Metal Sonic in IDW, he goes super. So it's not out of the question for Sage to also get that ability. I could very easily see Eggman thinking, oh, I have this incredibly powerful AI who has a physical form and can manipulate the physical world. Surely I could upgrade her with the ability to channel the chaos energy from the Chaos Emeralds and go super. I've done it before, I'll do it again. Or at the very least, give her the ability to do that with the Master Emerald. That's not out of the question at all. But I'll be real, I kind of passed up on that idea just because I was like, what do you do with that? Like, genuinely, how do you make a design out of Super Sage? What super form could you give her that would make sense? It was really weird. And yeah, I could have gone with something that was more Burning Blaze and less supersonic equivalent. But I'll be real, we all know that if Eggman were to give Sage some sort of special form based off of the Chaos Emeralds or the Master Emerald, it would be a super form. It just kind of have to be. So I didn't really think that would work. So that left me with only one other candidate who I felt could actually be worthy of receiving a super form. And that was Surge the Tenric from the Sonic the Hedgehog IDW comic book. Now, I will admit, I am rather biased towards Surge. I think Surge is amazing. She is probably my favorite character in the comics, and heck, maybe my favorite character in the entire franchise. But I still genuinely felt like Surge was the only character who could actually get a super form. Not only because she just felt like she fit that role, but aside from maybe Kit, purely because Kit is Surge's sidekick, I didn't feel like there was anyone else available. After writing off Gemerald and Sage, it really did feel like nobody else could really fill the role of being a super. Surge was the only one who could actually do that, and for various reasons. First off, she's a Sonic clone, and I don't know if you've noticed, but like, it seems the only characters who get super forms are based on Sonic in some way. Like, even Blaze, who is from another dimension and canonically is not based on Sonic, she's still very clearly heavily influenced by Sonic. Her whole shtick is being similar, but not exactly the same as Sonic. I mean, that's not her whole thing, but any fan can actually look at Blaze and know, yeah, she's kind of Sonic without being Sonic, you know? She's the only one who, like, could maybe not be a Sonic clone, but she's still kind of a Sonic clone. And because of this weird unspoken rule where you have to be a Sonic clone in order to get a Sonic super form, I feel like Surge really does fit that, since she was created to be a Sonic clone after all, quite literally. Additionally, another common trait between characters who can go super is that they have the ability to channel some sort of energy, some sort of primal, special, external energy through their bodies. Be it the chaos energy that Sonic, Shadow, Silver, Trip, and the robots all channel, or the soul energy that Blaze channels from the soul emeralds. Whatever the case may be, all of those characters seem to have some sort of special energy that they can either channel through their bodies when needed, or that is already existent in them, as in the case with Shadow. And Surge very clearly meets this criteria of having energy channeling through her body, but with the whole electricity thing going on. She's like constantly supercharged with electricity, and at one point, she even manages to get that dynamo cage or whatever it's called, and fill it with wisp energy too. Surge has had her fair share of foreign energies channeling through her body, which is a very weird sentence I never thought I'd have to say, but here we are. So I feel like Surge really does fit the bill as a character who would actually receive a super form, which is the main reason I chose her. All of these different reasons and more just make me feel like Surge is the perfect candidate to get the next super form. But as soon as I was done picking the character I wanted to work with, I found myself with a new problem. What was I actually gonna do with this form? Like, the idea of giving Surge a super form was cool and all, but I realized Surge doesn't actually have chaos energy running through her body, so giving her a super form made very, very little sense. And she can't really go burning because, well, she has no fire abilities, so using the soul emeralds is out of the question. So I realized I was stuck with a problem where I wanted to make a super Surge, but I couldn't do it through any of the normal means necessary. So I had to really get creative and think outside the box of how I was going to do this. Ultimately, I never came up with any lore for this form. It was really, really hard for me to do so. If you guys have any ideas for why this form exists or how Surge is able to take it on in the first place, please share it in the comments because I would love to hear your ideas. I think you guys would be able to come up with far more interesting concepts than I would in terms of what exactly gives Surge this new form, which, by the way, I came up with through the name. There wasn't anything else. I was just sitting there trying to come up with some ideas, just sketching some basic visuals down, thinking, what could I possibly come up with? And eventually I just started thinking of names while I was sketching. And I went through things like Sparking Surge, Shocking Surge, Power Surge, which was one that I had heard from some fan art that I was referencing, actually. And then, out of the blue, I got this idea for Storming Surge. It came to me because I was trying to find something that was alliterative, because it seems to be the case that alliteration is the norm for when you transform into some sort of superpowered being in this world. So Storming Surge just kind of came naturally, but when I heard it, immediately my mind thought of something completely different from what I'd been thinking before. All of the names that I had thought of before had just kind of made me think of Surge, but more electrical than she already was, which was not a really great idea. I couldn't really think of how to make that happen, because she's already got electricity all over her. Like, every time she does anything, she's just covered in electricity, head to toe. I mean, yeah, Blaze is covered in head to toe in fire, but like, when she transforms, her outfit changes to be fiery. But Surge already has electricity shooting off of her outfit and her body. You can't really just add electricity to Surge and call it a day. It doesn't really work. So I had to come up with something else. And when the idea of Storming Surge came to my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, now I have a theme. Yes, this works. I was so happy because I could take the idea of a storm cloud, a thunderstorm, and slap it on to Surge to give her like some sort of extra oomph, which is why I ended up going with this cloud vest. If you notice in the design, she has this storm cloud vest that now appears over her shoulders and along her torso, and that idea was inspired by the name itself. I just thought it was such a cool idea. It really felt like an outfit piece that Surge would actually have. And I'll be perfectly honest, the idea of a storm cloud vest just looks cool. So I was like, heck yeah, let's just throw that onto there. Additionally, in terms of like smaller details, you'll notice that I've taken the 3 largest quills on Surge's head and given them this like frayed look. I've double spiked them. And the reason I did that was because, well, initially I found it on a few other pieces of fan art. Just people seem to do this when creating Super Surge. And initially I was like, I don't necessarily want to do that because I don't see a real reason for it. Outside of it just feeling like it gives a little bit more of like a lightning silhouette. But that wasn't too convincing. But then I happened to notice while drawing that Surge actually has that motif in her official design, but not on her quills. It's on the heels of her shoes. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's where they're pulling that from. Okay, well, that makes a lot more sense. Let's just take that and make it a little more prominent in the design. So I put it on the largest 3 quills on the top of her head, as well as the 2 quills wrapping around her cheeks. I thought that would help to give her a bit of a sharper and cooler looking design, which ultimately was what I was after. I wanted Surge to look even cooler than she already was. And after adding the twin phrase into the design, I did feel like Surge just looked objectively cooler than she already did. So I concede to all of the fan artists who added that into their design. You win. It does look cool. Now, in terms of the background, there wasn't a lot to it, and that was because I rarely ever do background design, so I actually wasn't very experienced in this. I was basically going in blind and just kind of throwing stuff at the wall. I wasn't really trying to do anything carefully or expertly. I was just kind of trying stuff out, which, looking back, I feel like I should have been more careful with what I actually wanted to do. I should have thought about the fact that
I was creating a design that I wanted to show off, so I should have been thinking about how could I present that in a cool and interesting way, which fortunately I think I got there. The idea of Surge being surrounded by a storm cloud and lightning shooting out of the clouds and into her and off of her and into the clouds felt like a really, really cool idea. And I love how it ultimately turned out, especially given the fact that I don't have a lot of skill in this, again, due to the fact that I just don't work on backgrounds very often. But I will admit, looking at it, I can already see where I could do better. Most notably, the colors in the very back of the background just don't look that great or interesting. There's definitely a lot of area to improve, but given where I was coming from, I feel like I did a pretty damn good job managing to make a background that highlighted Surge more than anything. Oh, but I do want to say that when it comes to the lightning, I'm really, really proud of it. I have basically never drawn lightning properly, never taken it serious before. No electricity or lightning art I've ever created has ever looked this good before, and that's mainly because I just tried to actually put effort into it. I looked up references and tried to figure out how I could actually make some good looking lightning and electricity. And then in the end, I think it turned out really great. I'm really happy with it, and I'm excited to draw electricity more in the future now that I have this new skill that I didn't have before. And there you have it. That's Storming Surge. My idea of what Surge the Tenric would look like if she got a super form. Again, I don't have any lore for this. I just came up with an idea that I thought was interesting and unique. If you guys get any ideas, again, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know what you guys' theories are on how Storming Surge would come about in the official lore of Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know if I will do more potential what-if Sonic characters or transformations in the future. I did this one because it struck me. I thought it was a good idea. But in terms of what I've actually got planned for the future, well, right now, Pokemon has captured my brain thanks to the release of Legends ZA, and I just really love making Fakemon, so that's probably the next video that I'll do, and I'll probably do plenty of Fakemon videos in the future if I had a guess. But who knows, I might return to the Sonic franchise. I do love Sonic the Hedgehog quite a lot. It's honestly my favorite franchise ever, probably anyway. So there's a high chance that I will return, maybe with some OCs of mine, some robots. I have created a Metal Amy before in the past. If you want me to redesign that, let me know down in the comments. That would be absolutely fun. Oh, and speaking of, while you're headed down that way, why don't you just pass by the subscribe button, give it a nice little click, and make sure to leave a like on the video too. It really helps, especially here early on. This is my first video here on the channel, aside from a Minecraft video, but that's old and outdated. I'm not playing Minecraft here on the channel. So aside from that one video, this is really my first video here, so I hope you guys really liked it, and if you liked the music choices in this video, please let me know as well. I sourced all the music from OverClocked Remix, which, speaking of, you should definitely check out all the links in the description, as those will take you to the pages on OverClocked Remix where I downloaded all the music that I used in this video. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a good life, and until I see you again, may luck and karma send fortune your way. Bye!